Bobi Wine has continued to address the European Parliament, and they asked him a fundamental question: what does he want the European Parliament to help him? He called on targeted sanctions on these individuals. In fact, here's the tape when he was addressing the European Parliament.
I want to appreciate the European Union Parliament for the resolution on Uganda and for keeping an eye on Uganda. We don't take it for granted. Every time we see development partners keeping an eye on what is happening here in Uganda. We also recognize that the EU is an important partner to Uganda, and we intend to maintain and also improve this partnership and this cooperation. We would also love to see this relationship happening between the people of Uganda and the European Union, not just General Museveni's illegitimate military regime. I'm still on the run. I'm still in hiding because of the continuing threats on my life since what happened on the 16th of January when my house was, my compound was raided and I fled my house. And also the following raid that happened on the 23rd of January, where my wife was assaulted and my family members were assaulted, and the military took over my home, which the military still occupies to the present day. My home is surrounded and the military is in charge of it now. What happened on the 15th of January and the preceding days was not an election. It was a military operation, and I'm very glad that it was clearly stated during the debate in the European Union Parliament. This violence started much earlier. It started on nomination day, and it went on through the campaign trail. And I'm glad that the resolution mentions in specifics victims like Mesa Chokero, who was shot and killed, and also General MUHOOZI Kainerugaba, who is the military chief and the son of General Museveni, came out on Twitter and, mentioned how he killed 22 of our people, and hoping that I would be the 23rd. I must mention, though, that the numbers that he put are much less. Maybe he mentioned or he meant those that he killed personally. Otherwise, the numbers that we have of the victims, of the people that have been killed, are much more than 22. Many civil society organizations were closed down, especially those that are in the area of governance. It was mentioned, and I want to reiterate it again, that the internet was shut down 3 days before the election. Media houses were ordered not to relay the results that were happening and all that was going on ground on the polling stations, to ensure that there's a clear disconnect between what was happening in the polling stations and what was being relayed by the Electoral Commission.
That is Bobi Wine. First of all regime propagandists came out to say that the European Parliament is inconsequential, that their resolution is not binding. But they at the same time are coming out to say that Bobi Wine should stop this issue, so they know the weight of the decision that can be made in the European Parliament. This European Parliament has almost the 50% of the entire GDP of the world. They can influence their different countries. This is how very many dictators are faced it rough. Things can start in the European Parliament. They go in the UN for UN resolution. They can go in NATO. So they know what Bobi Wine is doing is going to affect them. Because if they try to put targeted sanctions on these individuals, it will have a ripple effect on how they live in, even outside or even in this country. So the purpose of this video, I've come to talk about the speech which was made by Bobi Wine, what it means for our politics, and most importantly, the sedimentaries we can learn from the politics of our nation. But before I do this, I want to let you know that if you're into this channel, please subscribe. And if you're watching this video from a different platform, please head on to YouTube, type in Sula Mawagali. There's a lot of content of this nature. If geopolitics and economics is what you want, this will be definitely the right channel for you to subscribe to. First of all, as you all know, that Bobi Wine is still in hiding after facing a violent regime that was aimed at crushing him. I'm saying crushing because we've seen tweets of the CDF speaking about the same. The regime propagandists are coming out gun blazing from the Foreign Affairs Minister, from different ministers, because they know what it means the European Parliament to go against you. They know what it means for the European Parliament to go against your leaders. In fact, in a resolution that was passed, I saw a video when they are coming out hard and accepting what Bobi Wine asked. In fact, this is what happened.
Uganda is can be at the same time this country that is brings stability to the region by engaging with neighbors and by hosting refugees from neighbors. And at the same time being horrible to its own opposition, to people that engage in civil society. In a way, this country has kind of a split personality, being good at this on the one hand and mean to the inside, and that this state is a state as a booty for the Museveni family, and the regime can be seen today. Today there was planned to be held a Catholic Mass in the Lubaga Cathedral for political prisoner, Dr. Kisa Pasigye, and other political prisoners that has been cancelled on the last minute by the Archbishop, probably because he got a call that it would be wise not to do this. For me, this shows that this is not a free country. I can only say that for me, there's no transparency in those elections, and already acknowledging the results of such a fraudulent election is taking part in supporting a regime that is, from my point of view, not duly elected. So I think that we are already too positive on that note as a European Union. So it's said several times that the Ugandan constitution is very clear on the provisions, but apparently nobody cares, at least from those who are in the regime. So my question to our friends in Uganda is, what can we do further to support democracy and rule of law and human rights in Uganda, a part of doing what we do today, which is putting light to this situation. You request for targeted sanctions. My question to BAS is, what is hindering us if we know clearly that there are some people personally involved in abducting people, killing people, to put in place targeted sanction? These are my two questions to our esteemed guests. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there other colleagues who want to take the floor or not? Otherwise, I would like to give the floor back to Uganda, to Mr. Kuyangulani, Mr. Bobi Wine. Sorry for your family name. It's a little bit difficult for me to pronounce.
Yeah.
If you can give the floor first to you and then to Mrs. B. Rita. Yes.
Sure. May I request that you repeat the question again, please?
So, Robert, first I said all the best for you personally and for your family, but I wanted to know a part of putting light on the situation and organizing meetings like this and calling for targeted sanctions. What else can we do in order to support you on the ground that are working for democracy in your country?
Thank you very much. I'll talk about what you can do from your end and what you can do from our end here in Uganda. From your end, of course, you can apply targeted sanctions. And I hear very many times regime apologists claiming that when you put targeted sanctions on individuals, it affects the nation. No, it does not. It saves the nation. You can slap targeted sanctions, travel sanctions, economic and legal, to the individuals, which individuals we have presented internationally, and others have actually come out themselves, like General MUHOOZI, Museveni's son. You have laws like the Global Magnitsky, which has been applied to many human rights violators. We request that the same be applied to the regime back in Uganda. But also association. I mean, it slaps those who believes in democracy and human rights in the face when they see ambassadors or diplomats from the world-known democracies standing shoulder to shoulder with gross human rights violations. For example, imagine just a day or hours after General MUHOOZI tweets taking pride in murdering people, in attacking people's families and undressing people and tweeting it, taking pride in killing. And then the next minute, you're going to see an official picture of an ambassador from a renowned democracy standing shoulder to shoulder. That is embracing, that is legitimizing impunity. And we call for a distancing on that. I mean, I've not seen an ambassador or an government official from a democracy standing shoulder to shoulder with Lukashenko or these other, renowned dictators. Also, we have requested that for all the aid that is extended to Uganda, let it be conditional. Let it be conditioned to respect to democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. That would be very helpful. If it is not possible to cut out any cooperation, of course, the best thing would be for a democracy to disassociate from anything that contradicts the same. However, if it is not achievable to completely disassociate, then at least let there be a minimum of demanded, reforms that can lead Uganda to a line of democracy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bobi Wine. And now I would like to...
We must be clear that our commitment to human rights and fundamental freedoms in the European Parliament is non-negotiable. We will not shy away from difficult conversation and will not contribute to the silencing of opposition. In the spirit of partnership, as illustrated by the Samoa Agreement, we wanted to have an opportunity to discuss these issues of concern with the government of Uganda. Unfortunately, the ambassador couldn't be here today with us, but we will sure make a new appointment so that we can also have an exchange of view with the ambassador. It is important to note that accountability is one of the central principles of democracy and it applies to the EU treaties. As part of its oversight role within the EU institutions and parliamentary diplomacy, the European Parliament regularly adopts resolutions on electoral processes worldwide, particularly when credible reports raise strong concerns. Resolutions are an essential means by which the European Parliament expresses its view on political processes, EU politics and global developments. The Parliament also uses resolutions to scrutinise other EU institutions, including the European Council, as part of its democratic oversight role within the European Union. In the resolution on Uganda, which is adopted on the 12th February, which was supported by an overwhelming majority of members, 514 votes in favour, 3 against and 56 abstentions, we note serious concerns regarding the conduct and aftermath of the Ugandan general elections held on the 15th of January 2026, which has unfortunately failed to meet fundamental democratic standards. That opposition leaders and members such as Robert Kyagulanyi, it's easier to pronounce Bobi Wine, and human rights defenders such as Sarah Birete were particularly targeted in a very alarming manner with arbitrary arrests, prolonged detention and even disappearances. This is why we called in our resolution for the end of all violence, threats, harassment, arbitrary detention of opposition figures, activists and critics. The dropping of all politically motivated charges, the lifting of arbitrary suspension of civil society groups, and the organization of comprehensive electoral and institutional reforms to ensure the independence of the Electoral Commission and judiciary. We also called for independent and impartial investigations into crimes against humanity committed by...
That is Bobi Wine. And indeed, he's right. I keep on telling people that there is no liberation that has ever been fulfilled by those affected only. Wars are fought within, but even outside forces. In the 1980 Bush War, we got help from Gaddafi and others. Even when Tanzania was invading here to remove Idi Amin, it shows you how the international people play. It is the truth. So the European Union has something to do when it comes to the world order. And those pouring water on it don't know what it means when the resolution is passed. They don't know. It's only General MUSEVENI who understands what is happening. So for me, I think, one, Bobi Wine is doing everything all right. It's the reason as why the system is not jittered. And even comes at a place when they even don't know where he is. Because leadership in any country, you cannot tell me that a high-ranking official, you don't know where he is. At least you rather know that he's outside the country. But when the person is in the country and you can't find him, it raises a lot of questions. It is the truth. So for me, I think, one, Bobi Wine is doing the right thing. The right thing. He's doing the right thing. Calling on international community to intervene. Because at the end of the day, the NRM regime is a juggernaut that if not handled very well with the help of the international community, it may fall on the country. Of course, that's my opinion. I mean, yours truly, Mr. Makindi, Kabi Suleiman Magal. If you're into this channel, please subscribe, like, and comment so that I can be motivated to do more of such videos. I'll see you on another one. Peace.